A homeless teen saves a life. His brave act doesn't earn him freedom, it makes him the most valuable prisoner in a brutal motorcycle club. His own body becomes the currency, and trust is the deadliest game. If you're new here, subscribe and comment your location. Now let's begin. The alley behind the Diamondback Tavern was the only place Alex could sleep, where the dumpster's heat took the edge off the spring chill. He was 17, thin, and good at being invisible, until the night he heard the scream. It wasn't a grown-up scream. It was a young, sharp cry of pure terror, cut off into a whimper. It came from the fenced-in yard next to the bar, the motorcycle club's compound. Alex moved without thinking. He slipped through a gap in the chain-link fence he'd spotted weeks ago. The yard had a grimy patio, a few bikes, and a small heated shed with a glass wall. Inside that shed, under a heat lamp, a girl was crumpled on the floor. She looked about 12. Her face was white. On her arm were two tiny, perfect puncture marks. Beside her, a beautiful, terrifying snake with blue and black scales slithered slowly away into a hiding spot. Alex's dad had been a park ranger. Before the drinking, before he left, he taught Alex about snakes. This was a blue kite, extremely venomous, rare, deadly. The girl's eyes met his through the glass. They were wide, pleading. "Help," she mouthed, her breath fogging the pain. The door was unlocked. Alex burst in. He dropped to his knees. "It's a kite," he said, his voice surprisingly calm. "You need anti-venom now." "Dad," she gasped. "Clubhouse meeting." There was no time. Her breathing was already getting shallow. He remembered his dad's old, grim advice about remote bites. "You suck, kid. You suck and you spit and you pray." Alex didn't pray. He put his mouth to the wounds on her arm and sucked. He tasted copper and something bitter. He spit the poison onto the floor. He did it again and again. He knew he shouldn't. He knew he could be poisoning himself. But he watched the panic in her eyes fade just a little, replaced by a dazed focus on him. That's when the door to the main clubhouse slammed open. Men flooded the yard, big men in leather vests that read steel crusaders. The leader was a mountain with a gray beard and cold eyes. His name was Crank. He took in the scene, his daughter, Stella, on the floor, a filthy homeless kid with his lips to her arm. "Get off her," Crank roared, surging forward. "Dad, no." Stella's voice was weak but clear. "Snake, he's helping." Another man, younger, with sharp eyes, named Doc, pushed forward. He saw the snake now, coiled in the corner of its enclosure. His face went pale. "Crank, it's the kite," Stella's bit. Crank froze, the horror dawning. He looked from the snake to Alex, who was wiping his mouth, dizzy. "What did you do, boy?" "Sucked the venom," Alex mumbled, his tongue already feeling thick. "Bought her time." Doc was instantly by Stella's side, checking her pulse, the wounds. "Her vitals are surprisingly stable, the swelling is minimal." He looked sharply at Alex. "How do you feel?" "Dizzy," Alex said, and then his legs gave out. He woke up in a clean, white room. It wasn't a hospital. It looked like a doctor's office, but tougher, concrete floors, a metal desk. He was on a cot. His arm was hooked to an IV. Doc was standing over him, taking notes. "You're awake," Doc said. "Good. You have a remarkable constitution." "The girl," Alex croaked. "Stable thanks to you. You absorbed a significant amount of the venom yourself. You should be in a coma or dead, but you're not." Doc's eyes were fascinated, like Alex was a rare bug. "Your body is fighting it. You're producing antibodies. Do you know what that means?" Alex shook his head, confused. "It means your blood," Doc said slowly, "is becoming the anti-venom." The door opened. Crank walked in. He looked at Alex, not with gratitude, but with a cold, calculating stare. "The snake was my hobby, a prize. Its anti-venom is impossible to get locally, takes days to ship. Stella would have been dead." Alex tried to sit up. "I'm glad she's okay. I'll just go." "You're not going anywhere," Crank said, his voice flat. "You're a medical miracle. Your blood is now the only thing that can save any one of my men if that damn snake gets loose again, or if we need it for other reasons." Alex felt a chill that had nothing to do with the IV. "You're keeping me." "We're giving you a roof," Crank corrected. "Food, clothes. In exchange, you give us blood regularly, Doc will monitor you, you'll live here comfortably. As a prisoner, Alex whispered. As a resource, Crank said, a very, very valuable one. Think of it as a job, the most important job in the club. And just like that, Alex's life changed. He was moved to a small room in the compound. It had a lock on the outside. He was given clean jeans, t-shirts. The food was good, plentiful. The men didn't talk to him much, but they didn't hurt him either. They looked at him like a tool, a living first aid kit. Stella, once she recovered, was different. She was fierce, funny, and saw him as a person. She'd sneak him extra dessert from the clubhouse kitchen. My dad's being a jerk, she'd say, but he's scared. That snake was his stupid treasure. Then there was Luna, Crank's niece in her early 20s, who helped run the club's office. She had dark hair and a smile that didn't reach her eyes often. She started bringing Alex his meals sometimes. How's the blood bag today? She asked, but her tone was soft, teasing. Full, ready for draining, he'd reply, trying to joke. It was hard to joke about. One day she stayed while Doc drew blood. She saw Alex look away from the needle, his jaw tight. You hate it, she stated. I'm a human pincushion, he muttered. You're their insurance policy, she said. In this world, that's power. You just have to learn how to use it. Her hand brushed his shoulder, a brief, warm touch that lingered in his mind long after she left. Weeks passed. Alex settled into a grim routine. Blood draws twice a week. His health was perfect, better than on the streets. But he was a ghost in the house. He found moments of light, playing cards with Stella, sharing stolen, quiet laughs with Luna in the hallway, talking engines with an old mechanic called Grease who didn't care about his blood, just his opinion on carburetors. But the truth was always there. During a club meeting, Crank's voice boomed through the wall. The boy stays. He's an asset, like a fire extinguisher. You don't sell it just because there's no fire. Alex's blood ran cold. An asset, a thing. The turning point came during a riot at a rival club's bar. The Crusaders came back with injuries. One prospect, a kid named Finn, had been pricked by a needle in the fight. Days later, he spiked a fever. Paranoia set in. Had it been poisoned? Was it some strange toxin? Doc was stumped. Finn was getting worse. Crank stood in the medical room, looking at the sweating, delirious young man, then at Alex. Can your blood fix this? Crank demanded. I don't know, Alex said, scared. It only works on that snake's venom, I think. We don't know what it works on, Doc said, an idea lighting his eyes. His blood serum is incredibly adaptable. It might cross-react, boost his immune system. It's a gamble. Crank looked at Alex. You'll do it. A direct transfusion. You save him. It wasn't a request. Alex was terrified. What if it killed Finn? What if it did nothing? But he saw the fear in Crank's eyes, not for Finn, but for losing a soldier, and he saw his chance. No, Alex said, the word quiet but clear. The room went silent. No one said no to Crank. What did you say? Crank growled. I said no, Alex repeated, his heart hammering. I'm not a medicine cabinet you just open. You want my blood for this? We make a deal. Crank took a step forward, huge and threatening. You have nothing to deal with. I have the only thing you need, Alex shot back, sounding braver than he felt. My cooperation, you want it? I get something. Real things, a key to my room, no more lock. I get to leave the compound with an escort for 1 hour a day, fresh air, and you put me to work in the garage with Grease. Real work. Crank stared at him, a new respect flickering beneath the anger. The homeless kid had grown a spine. You think you can bargain? I just did, Alex said. Finn's time is running out. Do we have a deal? Doc looked from Finn to Crank, pleading silently. Crank's fists clenched. Then he gave one sharp nod. Do it. But if he dies, boy, your new room will be a crate. The transfusion worked. Finn's fever broke overnight. Alex wasn't just a snake anti-venom. He was a universal booster. His value skyrocketed, and he got his deal. The lock came off his door. He spent his days learning from Grease, his hands getting dirty with oil, feeling useful for the first time. His escorted walks were quiet, but they were outside. Luna started joining him on these walks. The chemistry between them grew, charged with the danger of their situation. One evening, by the fence, she looked at him. "You're playing a dangerous game, Alex. My uncle doesn't like being cornered." "I'm tired of being a thing on a shelf," he said, his voice low. She was close enough to kiss. Her gaze dropped to his lips, then back to his eyes. "Be careful," she whispered, "but don't stop." She leaned in, and for a breathtaking second, he thought she would kiss him. Instead, her lips brushed his cheek, a soft, electric promise. Then she walked away. Alex felt a new kind of strength. He had leverage. He had a flicker of something real with Luna. He had Stella's friendship. But he also knew Crank's patience was thin. The balance was fragile. And when a new, more powerful rival gang, the Reapers, heard rumors of the Crusaders' miracle cure, everything was about to shatter. The Reapers didn't want a war. They wanted the resource. They sent a message: "Hand over the blood boy, or we burn everything you have." The clubhouse was tense. The men looked at Alex differently now, not just as a tool, but as a target, a reason for an attack. Crank called a church meeting. Alex was told to wait in his room. He could hear the raised voices. "We can't fight the Reapers over a stray," one voice yelled. "He's not a stray, he's our advantage," another countered. "He's a kid," he heard Luna's voice, sharp and clear. "And he saved Stella, he saved Finn. Are we really going to sell him?" Crank's voice, final and heavy, ended the argument. "We don't hand him over, that shows weakness. We also don't die for him, we use him as bait." Alex's stomach dropped. Bait. The plan was simple. They tell the Reapers they could have him, setting up a meeting for the exchange, but it would be an ambush. Alex would be out in the open, vulnerable. "No," Luna said, storming into Alex's room later. "It's suicide. They'll grab you in the crossfire." "I don't have a choice," Alex said, feeling numb. "You always have a choice," she insisted. Her eyes were fierce. "We run. Tonight I have a bike. I know back roads." Alex looked at her. She was risking everything. For him, it was real. He wanted to say yes. But then he thought of Stella, of Greece, of even Doc, who saw him as a human, if a fascinating one. He thought of the club, a twisted, brutal family that was still his only family. Running would make him a target forever and put Luna in the line of fire. "I can't let you do that," he said softly, "and I can't run forever. I have to face this, on my terms." He had an idea, a crazy, dangerous idea born from his new knowledge of engines and his unique biology. He went to Greece's garage, late at night, and started working. The day of the exchange arrived. It was set in a scrapyard. Alex stood alone in the open, as instructed. His heart was a drum. Across the yard, Reapers emerged from behind crushed cars. Their leader, a man with a scarred face, grinned. Then from behind Alex, the Crusaders' bikes roared to life, surrounding the area. Crank stepped forward. "You want him?" Crank yelled. "Come and get him." The Reapers drew weapons. The Crusaders did the same. Alex was in the middle. He raised his hands. He had a small, modified spark plug in his palm, connected to wires running under his shirt to a motorcycle battery pack in a sling on his back. Greece's help. He had filled the hollowed-out plug with his own blood, drawn that morning and mixed with gasoline. "Stop!" Alex shouted, his voice echoing in the yard. Everyone froze, surprised by the kid in the middle. He looked at the Reaper leader. "You want my blood? Here it is." He slammed the spark plug against a metal pole next to him, completing the circuit from the battery. A spark flew. The blood-gasoline mixture ignited with a small, dramatic whoosh of flame, spraying a brief, burning arc into the air. "I'm not a cure you can steal," Alex yelled, his voice strong. "I'm a weapon. My blood is in me. You try to take me, you try to bleed me for your wars, and I'll burn it out of my own veins before I help you. You'll get nothing but ashes." It was a bluff, a huge, crazy bluff, but it looked real. The Reapers stared, unsettled by the fanatical light in the boy's eyes, by the dramatic display. Crank saw his moment. "You hear him? He's ours, and he's crazy loyal. You'd have to kill him to get a drop, and then what's the point? Now get out of my yard." The Reaper leader hesitated. The boy was more trouble than he was worth. A volatile, unpredictable asset. With a final, disgusted curse, he signaled his men. They pulled back, their bikes fading into the distance. The silence in the scrapyard was heavy. The Crusaders lowered their weapons. Crank walked slowly up to Alex, who was shaking, the makeshift flamethrower dangling from his hand. Crank looked at him for a long time, then he did something shocking. He clapped a heavy hand on Alex's shoulder. "Good bluff, kid." A tiny smile touched his mouth. "Maybe you're not just a bloodbag after all. Maybe you're a crusader." That night there was a party. Alex sat at the main table, not as a prisoner, but as a guest of honor. Luna brought him a beer, her eyes shining with pride and something else. "You were an idiot," she said, leaning close so he could hear her over the music. "A brave, amazing idiot." "Did it work?" he asked, their faces inches apart. "It worked," she said, and this time she did kiss him. It was deep and real and tasted like hope and engine grease. Later, Crank gave him a small, folded piece of leather. It wasn't a full patch. It was a Prospects rocker with the word AID stitched in the middle, a joke and a truth. Alex was still their medical resource, but he was also one of them now. He had a place, a dangerous, complicated, awful, wonderful place. He looked at Luna laughing with Stella, at Grease nodding at him from across the room, at Crank raising a glass in his direction. He was not free, but he was no longer just a captive. He was the boy with the miracle blood who had used his own body as a bargaining chip and won. The future was still uncertain, but for the first time, it was his to fight for. The new patch on his vest was the softest prison he'd ever known. AID. It meant everything and nothing. He ate with the club, laughed with them, and every Sunday Doc still took 2 vials of his blood, labeling them carefully. But the lock was gone, and the looks had changed. They weren't staring at a tool. They were sizing up a prospect, a crazy one. His work with Grease in the garage became his real life. He had a knack for it. The old mechanic, a man of few words, would just grunt and point, and Alex would figure it out. "You're not completely useless," Grease muttered one afternoon after Alex fixed a tricky fuel line issue. It was the highest praise Alex had ever received. Luna was the complication that warmed him from the inside. Their charged moments grew longer. Stolen kisses in the garage supply closet, her fingers lacing with his under the pool table during club parties. It was dangerous. Crank watched everything, and while he'd given Alex a measure of respect, Luna was his niece, off limits. "You're playing with fire," she whispered one night, pressed against the wall in a dark hallway after a party. "I'm used to it," he breathed against her lips, thinking of the flaming spark plug. She pulled back, her expression serious. "My uncle is planning something with your blood. He's talking to Doc about stabilizing it, making it last longer outside your body, turning it into a product." Alex's blood ran cold, and it had nothing to do with Venom. A product. For sale to the highest bidder, not just for snake bites, for other things, infections maybe. He sees dollar signs. The horror was back, cold and slick. He wasn't a person or even a prospect. He was a factory, a mine. The new fear was worse than the old one. Before he was useful, now he was profitable, and you don't let a gold mine walk away. He had to act. He went to Doc the next day during his blood draw. "Crank wants to sell my blood." Doc didn't look surprised, just tired. He's the president. He looks for advantages. "You can't let him. This isn't. It's not right. You're a doctor." "I'm their doctor," Doc corrected, but he looked troubled. "The process to make a stable serum, it would require more frequent, larger draws. It would be hard on you." "Hard on me?" Alex laughed, a short, bitter sound. "You mean it would kill me, slowly?" Doc didn't deny it. He just finished labeling the vial. "I'll try to talk to him about the limits." Talking, Alex knew, wouldn't work. He needed a new plan, a real one. He started paying attention. He listened when the men talked about shipments, about deals. He learned the names of their allies, their enemies. He memorized the schedule for the cash runs from their legit businesses. Information, he realized, was a kind of blood too, and he was starting to collect it. The test came sooner than he wanted. A high-ranking member of a friendly club, the Iron Workers, got sick, really sick. A hospital couldn't figure it out. Rumor was it was some kind of aggressive infection. Crank saw an opportunity. He called Alex into his office. Luna was there, standing stiffly by the window. "The ironworkers' president called in a favor," Crank said, leaning back in his chair. "Their man is dying. We're going to offer them a vial of your blood, for a price, a big one." "This is how it starts," Alex said, his voice flat. "This is how we survive," Crank shot back. "We're not a charity, you're our asset. We're leveraging you, one vial, that's all." "And when the next club calls, and the next," Alex challenged, "where do you stop? Do you drain me dry in a year?" Crank's eyes hardened. "You'll do as you're told, prospect. That's the life you signed up for." "I didn't sign up to be milked like a cow." The room went silent. Crank stood up, his sighs overwhelming. "You're here because I allow it. You breathe because I allow it. Remember that." Luna stepped forward. "Uncle, please, there has to be another way." "Stay out of this, Luna," Crank warned, his eyes never leaving Alex. Alex knew he had to fold. For now, he nodded, gritting his teeth. One vial. The blood was drawn, the deal was made, the ironworker lived, and Crank's bank account got much heavier. The demand began to trickle in from other quarters. The underground network buzzed about the Crusaders' elixir. Alex felt the walls closing in. He confided in Luna late at night in his room. "I need to disappear, for real this time." "And go where?" she asked, her head on his chest. "They'll hunt you. Every club, every greedy lowlife will be looking for the miracle boy." "Then I need to make myself worthless," he said, an idea forming, desperate and dark. "No," she said, sitting up. "Don't you dare hurt yourself." "Not like that," he said. "But what if the well runs dry? What if my blood stops working?" She stared at him. How? He didn't know, but he started secretly researching. He looked up foods, chemicals that could suppress immune response. He couldn't make himself sick, that was too obvious, but he could, maybe, dilute his gift. He started sneaking bites of raw cookie dough from the kitchen when Stella made it, hoping the potential bacteria might trigger something. He stopped taking the vitamins Doc gave him. It was a slow, risky sabotage. Meanwhile, the chemistry with Luna reached a boiling point. After a tense club meeting where Crank announced another blood deal, they found themselves alone in the garage, the smell of oil and gasoline around them. The frustration, the fear, the desire all crashed together. He pinned her gently against the workbench, his mouth finding hers in a kiss that was all heat and defiance. Her hands fisted in his shirt, pulling him closer. It was charged, intense, a rebellion against their cages. They broke apart, breathing hard, foreheads touching. "We can't keep doing this," she whispered, but she didn't let go. "I know," he said, "but I can't stop." The breaking point came 2 weeks later. Crank had arranged a meeting with a new buyer, not a club, but a sleek, dangerous-looking man in a suit, a pharmaceutical scout. This was the big leagues. This was forever. Alex was ordered to be present, to show the product is sound. He stood there like a prize bull as the suit asked cold, clinical questions about his diet, his health, his capacity. "With the right harvesting schedule," Doc was saying reluctantly, "we could produce several units a month." The suit smiled. "My employers are prepared to be very generous for an exclusive contract." Crank's eyes gleamed. This was it, the sellout. Alex felt a cold clarity wash over him. His sabotage hadn't worked fast enough. He needed a bigger move. Now. He interrupted. "It won't work." All eyes turned to him. "What did you say, boy?" Crank's voice was low and dangerous. "My blood," Alex said, forcing his voice steady. "It's already changing. It's getting weaker. The last 2 draws. Doc, you saw the antibody count. It's dropping." Doc blinked, confused. He had seen a slight dip, but nothing conclusive. "There are fluctuations." "It's not a fluctuation," Alex insisted, lying through his teeth. "My body's adapting, tolerizing. The more you use it, the less special it becomes. In 6 months, I'll be just a guy with weird blood. In a year, I'll be normal. You sell an exclusive contract now, and in a few months, you'll be selling them salt water. And then they'll be very, very angry." The suit's smile vanished. He looked at Crank. "Is this true?" "Of course it's not," Crank began. "It is true," Doc said suddenly, surprising everyone. He adjusted his glasses, avoiding Crank's furious stare. He looked at the data pad in his hand as if seeing it for the first time. The trend is concerning. The boy's unique physiology may be normalizing. It's a known risk with repeated antigen exposure. He was backing Alex's play, for his own reasons, ethics, guilt, or just to stop the madness. Crank was furious, cornered. The suit stood up. This is not what we discussed. We cannot risk capital on a diminishing asset. The deal is off. He left without another word. The moment the door closed, Crank exploded. He backhanded Alex across the face, sending him sprawling. "You lying little snake." Luna rushed forward, putting herself between them. "He's telling the truth. Or have you forgotten he saved Stella? He's not a product, he's a person." "He's mine," Crank roared. In that moment, Alex saw it. The truth. Crank didn't see a son or a prospect. He saw property that was losing value, and a man like Crank cut his losses. "Lock him up," Crank ordered. "In the storage cellar, no light. We'll see how his blood does in the dark." Two men grabbed Alex. As they dragged him away, he locked eyes with Luna. Her face was streaked with tears, but she gave a tiny, fierce nod. "I'll fix this." The cellar was cold, dark, and smelled of damp concrete. True darkness. Hours bled together. He had played his hand and lost. Or had he? He didn't know how long he'd been there when he heard the scrape of the lock. A sliver of light appeared. It wasn't a crusader. It was Stella, holding a flashlight, her face determined. "Luna sent me," she whispered. "She's causing a diversion. The Reapers are back. Someone tipped them off that you're vulnerable. The club is gearing up for a fight." "Stella, you shouldn't be here," Alex said, his heart breaking. "My dad is wrong," she said simply, handing him the flashlight and a small, heavy key. "This is for Grease's old bike in the back alley. It runs. Go now." "Come with me," he begged. She shook her head, tears in her eyes. "I have to stay, but you have to go. Be safe, Alex." She pushed him toward the door. He stumbled up the stairs into chaos. The compound was a storm of shouting men and revving engines. He heard Crank bellowing orders. In the confusion, he slipped around back. There, covered by a tarp, was Grease's old chopper. The key fit. It started on the second try, a loud, defiant roar. He didn't look back. He tore out of the alley and onto the open road, the wind whipping his face. He was free, but he was alone, and he knew the truth. He wasn't a normal guy. His blood was still a curse, and as long as he lived, someone would want to cage him for it. The road ahead was dark, but for the first time, it was his to choose. He had escaped the Empire, but the battle for his own body, his own life, was just beginning. Thank you for watching Alex's dangerous journey. Would you have run with Luna or made your stand like he did? Let me know what you would do in the comments and tell me where you're watching from. Subscribe for more tailies where one choice changes everything.